Coloured glass enamels have intrigued and fascinated us for centuries, with their delicate, translucent colour palette adding depth and detail to some of our most treasured stained glass windows. But the story of their invention is a fascinating tale of creative thinking and problem solving by a generation of stained glass craftsmen who were facing a problem. For most of the Middle Ages, stained glass colour came from pot metal glass, molten glass into which metal oxides were mixed, giving a permanent colour to the body of the glass. But this process was labour intensive and expensive. The solution was coloured enamels. Around the mid-1500s, European glass painters began experimenting with transparent enamels made from powdered coloured glass. The technique developed especially in France, Switzerland and Germany. Enamel painting didn't fully replace pot metal, but it revolutionised stained glass, allowing more complex imagery at lower cost. To understand more, let's take a trip to Ely Cathedral here in the UK to talk with Dr. Jasmin Allen, curator and director of the fabulous Stained Glass Museum, to learn more about this fascinating story.
Welcome to the Stained Glass Museum. My name is Jasmin Allen and I'm director and curator here. And we've got some fantastic examples to look at today, spanning from the medieval period right up to the 21st century. So we have here a mid-14th century medieval window made of pot metal coloured glass and lead with some paint and some stain. And this is what stained glass looked like in the middle of the 14th century. But the colour that you see in stained glass comes from pot metal coloured glass. And it's called pot metal glass because it's coloured in the melting pot. Metallic oxides are added to the molten glass mix, and through this alchemy of fire and ingredients, the glass that comes out is coloured. It's incredible, really, when you think about it. And we've got a fantastic 14th century example here from the height of the Gothic period in England, a depiction of the Annunciation to the Virgin Mary. And the paint that's painted onto the window is this black, which you can see has been used to create these fantastic details, a wash of paint over this blue, and then with a stick, the very skilled artist has scratched into that paint once it's dry to create this wonderful kind of rinceau pattern in the background there. And of course, glass paint, as we know, is fired in a kiln. It then fixes in the kiln and that becomes permanent. So that's most of the painted decoration. The other colour application that is used from the 14th century onwards, only from the early 14th century, is this silver stain, which if you look, there's profusion of yellow in the canopies and the borders. Also to colour the Virgin's hair yellow, because this is one piece of white glass, black glass paint which has been fired in the kiln. This yellow is this application of silver stain onto the glass, which when fired turns that glass yellow by staining it. It penetrates the surface of the glass. So up until the 15th century, really, those are the tools that glass painters had. They were working with coloured glass material. They had a black or brown pigment that they could paint with, and that's principally the grisaille pigment, as we call it, and also this silver stain from the early 14th century. But in the 15th, 16th and 17th century, more coloured pigments are developed to enable glass painters to paint colour, to apply colour onto base, usually clear glass. So we'll have a look at some of those today. So prior to the Reformation, this is what stained glass looked like. And this is a really quite colourful window made with that pot metal glass in conjunction with paint, with silver stain. But also we have for the first time the use of another colour pigment which is applied to the glass, and that's this reddy brown here, which is sometimes called sanguine or Jean Cazan's red, and it's probably an iron copper oxide which is mixed, fired in the kiln, and it gives these figures some colour, some reddish tint to their faces, to their lips, to their necks. So artists, even at this point, are looking to add more tools to their box, to the painter's palette, really.
So Jasmin, why are we seeing no colour in these panels compared to the Gothic glass we were looking at earlier?
Well, there's probably a couple of reasons here. One, of course, is that coloured glass was more expensive. So these were windows that maybe people could afford when they didn't have as much money as the kind of chief patrons of stained glass, always being the church really at this time, but also wealthy landowners.
Would it be correct to say that during this period, coloured glass, the use of sort of coloured pot metals, was really abandoned, or was it still being used?
It was still being used at this time.
Yeah.
But there comes a point where various reasons, again, to do with religious, political motivations and also supply, that changes. And we've got some examples where you can see just a century or so later, things really change. By the 16th and 17th centuries, coloured glass was harder to come by. We had a lot of political and religious changes, the Reformation, wars across Europe, and that meant that the supply of coloured glass was very, very difficult. So artists developed the enamel painting glass style. It was very popular on a small scale like these, and here we have coloured enamels used to create these figures. Some are just painted in grisaille, in this glass paint, just glass paint on glass, but these ones with colour all have a coloured enamel pigment, which is made of ground up coloured glass, added with a flux to make the temperature lower, and it enables the artist to add colour to these pieces. So I've pulled out some 17th and 18th century enamel painted panels for you here from our reserve collection. Again, they're all quite small, but we've got a range of imagery here, and it's important to note that heraldry was one of the ways in which enamel painting actually was really optimized, because when you're producing very complicated shields, sometimes with many heraldic badges on, getting the colours right is absolutely important, so you know the shield. And in hot metal, glass and lead, that's very difficult to do. So enamel painted glass for heraldry was very, very popular because you could get those small minutiae details in the colour using enamel pigments. This is a piece, English piece, by William Price. And you can see, however, that the enamel pigments have started to degrade on some of these. This shield is actually the same. This is the same shield repeated, but here the blue enamel has almost entirely flaked off, and here again, where it's been used in conjunction with the silver stain to create this green behind the swag, it's flaked off again. So enamel deterioration is very common, and it's because it's an applied pigment. It's fired at a lower temperature. It's certainly less hardy than glass paint in bad conditions. The Swiss were very, very good at enamel painted glass and globally renowned for producing some fantastic pieces. This is an example of a 17th century Swiss panel. You can see that it has been repaired. It's broken in places, and we've got these repair leads interrupting the scene. But it is a great example, if you can just remove those leads with your eyes, of the kind of detail that you can get in these panels. And also the combination of pot metal glass and enamel paint, because the blue drapery that we see on this figure of justice and on Jacob, this Jacob wrestling with the angel here, is actually a blue flashed glass, where the blue has been abraded away to reveal the white. And that has been used then in conjunction with the enamel pigments around to use all the tools that you can to create this very colourful piece. It's a kind of commemorative panel. We have the inscriptions that tell us that it's for Jacob Buchmüller and Peter Buchmüller, so it's a family. This is their family badge, and presumably these are these men here who are commemorated in their fine armour, holding pistols and halberds. And then the figures of Justice and Jacob wrestling with the angel are referred to in these biblical inscriptions from Genesis above and below. This small piece is an allegory of time, thought to be 17th century. So it's an entire single sheet of glass, which again has just been painted with grisaille paint, silver stain, and a little bit of coloured enamels to bring the colour out. Pieces like this were all about human mortality. So that's why we have the clock with the face of the sun, the skull, the hourglass. But this is a very nice example of an 18th century William Peckett, just floral design. So he's a glass artist who worked in York, is known for his enamel painting, really prominent. There's a fantastic self-portrait that he did of himself in enamel paintings in York Art Gallery. It's beautiful, and there's a companion piece as well with a dog sitting on a cushion, and both are signed. I don't know whether you can see, it's so minutiae, but there is the signature and the date, W. Peckett, in here. Well, it was almost a victim of its own success in a way, because the bigger these enamel painted windows got and the thinner the glass got and the more number of coloured pigments on, the more actually they became vulnerable. And you'll notice there's lots of cracks in these windows, and it's very hard when you're working with large sheets like that in a window. Structurally, they're more vulnerable. And the enamels are also prone to deterioration because of the lower firing temperatures and the way that they fix the glass, that enables moisture and things to get in a bit easier, and which deteriorates the surface. So there are also some kind of genuine concerns there about the longevity of these windows, and that's why fewer survive. I mean, the Victorians replaced a lot of them, but sometimes the enamel, when it goes completely, you've lost an entire image. And we know coloured glass stands the test of time. It has done. We've got examples in this country right back to the 11th and 12th century.
Jasmin, thank you so much for giving me your time today. It's been so helpful and instructive to get the long view of enamels over the centuries and how it's been used. So thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. And there's a lot more that I think we can find out about these things. It's a very under-researched area. All the glass that you've seen today have been from the Stained Glass Museum collection, located in Ely Cathedral. We've got lots of examples here for you to see.